Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the commanding officer, Patrol Squadron 30, welcome to the P-3 sundown ceremony. My name is Senior Chief Carrillo, and I will be serving as today's master of ceremonies. Will the guests please rise for the singing of our national anthem? Military guests, please cover. Our national anthem will be sung by Senior Chief Campos.
Oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Now you can get off the stage. Yeah. Thank you, Senior Chief Campos, for that beautiful rendition of the Star Spangled Banner. How about one more round of applause? Come on now. Come on now. Man, come on now. Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Military guests may remove covers. There you go, find your seats, come on. I know we got a bunch of P-3 air crewmen out here, I know. Takes a little bit longer to get our orders, I get it. All right. Good morning, distinguished guests, family, and friends. Welcome to the P-3 sundown ceremony for Patrol Squadron 30, as we honor 60 years of P-3 maritime excellence here at VP-30. Thank you for attending. I would like to start off by thanking our First Lieutenant team, our CSD department, and our maintenance department for making this ceremony possible. Look around. Look at this setup. Beautiful, ain't it? How about a round of applause? I would like to welcome Rolls-Royce, Grace Aerospace, and the Maritime Patrol Association. Thank you for attending. I also would like to thank Lieutenant Daniel, Lieutenant Tran, Chief Brinkley, Chief Lawrence, AWF-1 Shively, Lieutenant Vance, Chief Mickens, Chief Scott, MC-1 Spencer, Chief Martineau, Mr. Mike Harding, Mr. Byron Merritt, and Mr. Renee Tyler for helping to coordinate this event. Thank you. Finally, I want to thank Skipper Eastman for opening the doors to VP-30 in order to celebrate this monumental event. I personally want to thank you, Skipper, for allowing me the honor to MC this historic event. Thank you, sir. With all that said, Skipper, you do realize you're giving an open microphone to me, a P-3 flight engineer. You know it's not too late to get the XO up here, right? I'll behave. We have guests. Let's begin. Here at VP-30, we are called the professionals, and this hangar serves as our nest, hence the pros nest. VP-30 has operated the P-3 longer than any other entity, 60 years of P-3 operations. Today, we would like to celebrate this historic event with all of you. It is written that the best way to celebrate is to gather. And what better way to gather than to gather some of our closest P-3 brothers and sisters and celebrate. A quick history lesson of VP-30. VP-30 was not the first and will not be the last to operate the mighty P-3. The first production P-3 aircraft was completed on 15 April 1961, and the first set of P-3 aircraft were actually delivered to VP-8 and VP-44 at NAS Patuxent River in Maryland. Any past or present fighting tigers of VP-8 in the audience today? You were the first. How about any past Golden Pelicans, AKA Buttman of VP-44 in the audience? I got one thing over here. You were the first. You were the first. VP-30 was commissioned in June 1960 here at NAS Jacksonville to train flight crews on the P-5 Marlin and the P-2 Neptune aircraft. In June 1963, VP-30 Detachment Alpha was formed at Pax River, Maryland to begin training the newly introduced P-3 Orion at the time. And now, exactly 60 years to the month, we gather here to celebrate this milestone. In 1966, the growth of VP-30 Detachment Alpha soon became significant enough that the squadron home port was moved from NAS Jacksonville to NAS Pax River, Maryland. Flight operations continued here to NAS Jacksonville until the P-2 aircraft were phased out of service in December 1968. In 1970, VP-30 assumed the training of P-3 maintenance personnel with the Fleet Readiness Aviation Maintenance Program, also known as FRAMP. Any old FRAMP people in the audience today? Oh man, look at you guys. You were the first. You were the first. In 1975, VP-30 returned to its present home port of NAS Jacksonville. But VP-30 was not the first squadron to operate the P-3 in Jacksonville. That honor goes to VP-45 in 1964. Any Pelicans in the audience? You were the first. You were the first. In August 1991, VP-30 was designated a Major Shore Command as the Maritime Patrol Community Fleet Replacement Squadron, also known as the FRS. With the merging of VP-30 and VP-31 into a single-site FRS in 1993, VP-30 is now the largest aviation squadron in the Navy. Any old VP-31 alumni out there? Hoo-yah. As we celebrate the end of the P-3 era here at VP-30, the future is alive and well in the P-8 and MQ-4 aircraft. VP-30's mission is to provide P-8 and MQ-4 specific training to pilots, naval flight officers, enlisted aircrew prior to reporting to the fleet. More than 650 staff personnel train over 800 officers and enlisted personnel annually. Foreign military personnel from Great Britain, Canada, Australia, Thailand, Germany, Netherlands, Spain, Chile, Norway, Japan, and the Republic of Korea have all received specific aircrew and maintenance training on P-3, P-8, or MQ-4 systems here at VP-30. With all that said, P-3 operations continue around the world. Let's not forget our sister squadrons at VXS-1 in Pax River, Maryland, VX-30 in Point Mugu, California, and VQ-1 in Whidbey Island, Washington. They will continue to operate the mighty P-3 for a little while longer. After 60 years of P-3 maritime excellence, the watch has been relieved. A few weeks ago, on May 31st, 2023, VP-30 turned over P-3 model manager responsibilities to VX-30 and VQ-1. VX-30 now serves as the P-3 Charlie model manager, and VQ-1 now serves as the EP-3 model manager. This plane has united 6 decades of naval aviators, air crew, maintenance, and support personnel. She has united many from different cultures, backgrounds, and generations. She is one of the few platforms in the Navy that has this kind of history. You can talk to any P-3 aviator and describe the same plane down to the nuts and bolts, and they will know exactly what you're talking about. Hoo-yah? The smell, the worn out floors, the spilled coffee, the smoke trails. Yes, she flew numerous people home, sometimes only on 3 engines and on fumes, but she brought us home. She has taken care of us because we have taken care of her for 60 years. P-3 accomplishments are all around us. If I can draw your attention to the bulkhead to your right and back. The mishap-free flight hours you see up there, over 400,000 flight hours are from the mighty P-3. Now, if I can draw your attention to your left, not the fire chief, aircraft 161415. She serves as the last chapter in P-3 operations here at VP-30. Some information about her. Her Navy acceptance was conducted in 19 June 1983. She will officially retire on the 26th of June 2023. She will have flown 17,466.8 flight hours and will have accumulated 19,067 landings after her flight today. Come on, Channel 4. So continue to look at her. She is just metal, a museum piece. But with the right people to maintain her, with the right people aboard her, she became a war machine that fought in every U.S. conflict since Vietnam. In other words, P-3 accomplishments around the world would not have been possible if it were not for the men and women that served and took care of her throughout the years. At this time, I ask for a moment of silence. A moment of silence for all those P-3 brothers and sisters that we have lost and cannot join us here today. Thank you. May we never forget. Now, let us honor those P-3 brothers and sisters here today. At this time, if you have ever served as administrative or support personnel in the rates of YN, PS, NC, IT, or IS at any P-3 command, I ask that you please stand up. If already standing, raise your hand to be recognized. How about a round of applause? You guys see where I'm about to go here, right? So, at this time, I asked if you ever served as a P-3 maintenance personnel in the rates of LS, SK, AK, AZ at any P-3 command. Please stand up. If already standing, raise your hand to be recognized. Right. At this time, I asked if you ever served as an AD, AM, a PR, or an AME at any P3 command, please stand up. If already standing, raise your hand so you can be recognized. That's right. Thank you. At this time, if you've ever served as an AT, AE, AO at any P3 command, please stand up. If already standing, raise your hand so you can be recognized. Right. At this time, I ask if you ever served as a P3 pilot at any P3 command, please stand up. If already standing, raise your hand to be recognized. At this time, I ask if you ever served as a P3 NFO, TACO, CVAL, NAV, please stand up. If already standing, raise your hand to be recognized. Thank you. At this time, I ask if you ever served as a P3 in-flight technician, acoustic or non-acoustic, please stand up to be recognized. Man. Wow. Thank you. And you know I have the mic. Finally, at this time, if you ever served as a power lever pushing, E-handle pulling, banana eating, smack the pilot on the side of his head and say, shut up and steer, P3 flight engineer, please stand up and be recognized.